Hello again. One area that I neglected on the channel probably for years is target shooting rifles or target rifles. And I receive a lot of correspondence over time asking questions. Most of the time I can't really answer in an intelligent way, even though I have target rifles. So I thought I'd show you some of the target rifles. Target shooting is popular around the world. So many people sent me, pictures of the targets and groups that they shot. I don't pretend to know exactly all the rules, and they do get complicated. Some people really like F-class, and you could Google that if you want. And actually, we have an associate, I would call him. His name is Mohsin Nawaz from Pakistan. I met him through another gentleman from Pakistan by the name of Asim. This goes back a few years. But anyway, Mohsin is a very accomplished shooter. And I'm going to include on this video a little video at the end, and you'll see Mohsin shooting. It looks like at 1,000 yards. I think it's at Bisley. I don't want to go into details because I'll probably make a mistake, but some of you will recognize his rifle. Some of you may even recognize Mohsin. Just fantastic shot and very accomplished. And so somebody would ask, well, why aren't you a target shooter? It's primarily time. I'm very interested in the rifles and tried different disciplines, but the people that were there were so far more dedicated to that one discipline. And they did, they were careful with their reloading, meticulous attention to accuracy. But what I wanted to quickly review just for younger shooters is essentially the concept across the board, and there are exceptions, but it all involves consistency. So you'll find that the target rifles have, generally speaking, heavier barrels. The actions are quite often single shots. This is a Kepler from Germany. I have it here because this one, I think we made a video in the mountains. And it seems that whatever you shoot at, doesn't matter what target, or I can't remember how far we went, maybe 500 yards, something like that. And I was using Schmidt & Bender's scope, and the groups are just unbelievably small. Naturally, the rifle has to be accurate, and the shooter has to be accurate. I mean, it goes without saying. It almost sounds silly to say that. This, I have to sit down, it's just too heavy. You'll see a screw up there and a screw back here. And that's for a Mirage strap. I showed it to you before. It's like, it looks like a sling, but it's a strap that goes over the barrel. Because as the barrel heats up, you get heat waves coming off the barrel that can obscure your view, whether you're shooting aperture sights or a scope. With a scope, I think it's generally worse. Anyway, the Kepler is probably in a machine rest about a 1/4 inch or less. And it's interesting to me, I actually did keep in touch with one fellow, another accomplished target shooter, and he said the rifles in a machine rest don't necessarily shoot better than the rifles in the hands of the shooter for a variety of reasons, because there are variables in long-range shooting, and there's a lot of science, and there's also a lot of intuition and factoring in things like wind and so forth. But anyway, I won't, like I said, try to get into it, because I hear these things from people and I can repeat them for your benefit. But I'm not an expert, but the rifles I like anyway. So this is a Kepler. You can adjust everything on this pops up so that you have cheek support, and this you can actually, this is kind of a convenience system. You can replace this with a factory hooked butt plate, and most of the shooting is prone shooting. And well, I should mention Mohsin, I think, is sponsored by Kalas. So, I mean, it's not easy to get the attention of those major manufacturers, Kalas Swarovski is significant. So yeah, I mean, fantastic, Mohsin, what you've accomplished in shooting. I wish I was as good a shot. Anyhow, and then going back in time, you probably haven't seen one of these, or maybe you have. If you're interested in just sort of sitting down and at the range and at 100 meters having every bullet essentially in the same hole, this one does it easily. It's a Witchita. These are unique because the bolt lift is ordinary, and you can see there's nothing on this side and there's nothing on this side. So it looks like no way to load the action. So you remove the bolt and you place the cartridge into the bolt face, and then the bolt goes back into the rifle. And the lock time is just minimal on this side. Yeah, I wonder about that bolt jump. Should be retained, would be easy to do. And this is 6mm PPC, which was a very popular cartridge. And every time I mention cartridge, people tell me, you're out of date, which I probably am. And there are all kinds of target shooting actions, and I invite you to have a look. There are bad actions and surgeon actions, all kinds of actions, no shortage. That Kepler, by the way, is the 308. So yeah, you could buy any number of actions, and people have, custom-built target rifles capable of astounding accuracy, not just a 300 or 1,000. It's something what you can accomplish, and it becomes quite fascinating. And they study, the shapes and ballistic coefficients and things like this. So, on the subject of accuracy, it's all relative. You'll hear me often say that 1 inch or 1.5 inches a group is fine. And it is fine. For most hunting, that's all you need. And then people write me, that's not accurate at all. I understand. I have these rifles. I know what a 1/4 inch group or even less. Sometimes it looks like I shoot like 5 shots and it looks like I fired 1. But, again, it depends on what you're after. So accuracy definitely is relative. Here's another action that you might be interested in. I didn't build anything out of this. This is a Nasika Model K. And you can see it has a right-hand bolt and a left-hand port. And why would somebody do that? Because at the range, when you're shooting, it's sometimes easier for some people to slip around in with the left hand. You don't have to take your hand off the trigger. And this Nasika is kicking around. I think Nasika bought Dakota Arms, but that whole thing is a question mark in my mind. And I'll just close off with this, which is a beautiful action. I'm not too familiar with it. Made by RPA in the United Kingdom. They do a lot of shooting over there. People write me, they think there's no shooting in the United Kingdom. They made all kinds of laws that make owning firearms difficult, but not impossible. And there are a lot of target shooters in some famous ranges, like Bisley, and that's Bisley. Anyway, this is an RPA quad light action. It's in 223, and it's beautifully made. It's a fantastic scope, and the scope's been modified by Premier reticles. It started out as a 6.5 to 20 Leopold, and they bumped it up to 14.5 by 35. If you're not familiar with that, that is a fantastic way to get more magnification, but it has to be the right company. I didn't check whether Premier is still in business. Anyway, you'll see that the Premier action is beautifully made. 4 locking lugs. And let's compare bolts. The Nasika is 2. And the Kepler well, there's no shortage of lugs on that Kepler. I presume they all engage. That's a lot of lugs. And then we have the most unusual one, which is the Witchita. Anyhow, that's a very scattered and probably disorganized commentary, but yes, there is a whole field of shooting. The Benchrest crowd, amazing people. And as I said, incredible focus on detail, because you have to be consistent, especially in these competitions that they shoot. Everything has to be as much the same as possible, but you know all these things. Anyway, have a look at the Mohsin video. It's very well made, better made than my videos. And you'll see his rifle, very cool, and I actually don't know what he shoots, but it's 308, I'm pretty sure. And that remains my favorite, like, quote-unquote target shooting cartridge. Just ammo is available, and I seem to have quite a bit of it. But I'm sure that there are all kinds of cartridges, Wildcat cartridges, factory cartridges that are used these days.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're here for the F-Class prize giving. And it's first time to the Imperial. Delighted to see Mohsin Nawaz from Pakistan.
All right, well, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care.